Today we're going to be talking about Vision X's fog light upgrade kit, and we'll be installing it on a Ford F-250 Super Duty. Now this kit is perfect for the guy out there that doesn't like to do a lot of wiring or running any sort of ground wires. This is a plug-and-play system thanks to this bracket kit that they provided in the kit that makes installation a breeze. It's super quick and super easy to do, bolt-on installation, no wiring required. Now, the kit itself comes with two fog lights. One is in the box here and one's out of the box, but if you're curious, yes, it does come with both lights. And these are going to produce about 4 times the light of your factory light kit at about half of the power draw. So you're going to have about 4,000 lumens of light output, and it's going to draw about 3.5 amps. So it's a very efficient and very powerful light. And to put that all into perspective, this is going to produce about 1 lux of light at 400 feet. And in the real world, that's going to be if my light is 400 feet down the road that way, and I'm reading a newspaper here, I can make out the words on that newspaper because of that light at 400 feet away. That's 1 lux of light that makes things visible at pitch black night. I can still read that newspaper with that light 400 feet down the road. So it's a very impressive light output from this fog light kit. Now the lights themselves are also IP68 rated. So that's about 1 meter underwater, which is going to cover most applications out there. And it's also IP69K rated as well. And that's going to mean if you're a heavy duty machinery owner and you have these fog lights installed, and you like to pressure wash your machinery off to clean it out at the end of the day, these lenses are going to hold up against that pressure washer, and you're not going to get any water behind the lens, any issues like that, thanks to that IP69K. Now, talking about the lens, this is actually a polycarbonate lens as opposed to glass. Now, glass on the trail, if you're out on the trail or working in heavy machinery, heavy duty, anything that's going to kick up on that glass could crack the lens, break it, cause some damage to your lights. The polycarbonate here, this is actually also IV resistant out there, or UV resistant rather, so you're not going to get any yellowing or any dulling thanks to the sun, but it's also going to be very resistant to dust and scratches and rocks coming up and shattering the glass. So that polycarbonate lens is a great fix for those off-roaders or heavy duty owners out there. Now, this is also CISPR 25 rated. Now, CISPR 25, if you haven't heard of the term, ultimately what that means is if you've done electronics in the past on your vehicle and you hear some humming or buzzing coming out of your stereo speakers after that installation, that's because of some electromagnetic frequencies, or radio frequencies are actually emitting from those electronics, causing some interference with your stereo system. This is CISPR 25, like I said, so you're not going to get any humming, any buzzing out of your stereo system because it shields against those frequencies and does a great job of keeping your stereo system sounding great. Now, at the end of the day, this is covered by a lifetime warranty. So if you have any issues down the road, Vision X has you covered. So to help out with today's installation, we actually have Sam from Vision X. How you doing, Sam?
Hey, good man. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for coming out today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So Sam, I know this is a plug-and-play installation. It's pretty easy to do, but what should we know before we get started?
This is awesome. The kit's pretty straightforward. All you need tool-wise is just a basic socket set. And what comes in the box, this is the Duralux fixture itself. There's a little mounting bracket that'll let you adjust the Allen keys and the nuts on the bottom. So we basically provide everything you need, less a basic socket set. And install-wise, it's straightforward. We just take the old lights off, we'll mount the lights in the brackets. There's an instruction sheet right inside, so shouldn't take very long. The wiring clips on, plugs and play, and we're ready to rock and roll down the road.
All right, guys, well, let's get to it.
So when you're doing these bolts here, you'll want to be real sweet to it when you back it out. Don't give it too much pressure because that little stud could twist off. So you want to just do it nice and easy, back it a little bit and check it a little bit. And eventually when you get that thing all the way off of there, it'll make sure you can put that bolt back on to reassemble the housing.
All right, so now that we have these things basically apart, the lights get assembled on the brackets, and then the bracket slides in here, and just where we took the old one off, we're gonna use the supplied bolts and hardware to reattach the fixtures this way. So we'll reassemble this and get them mounted, and then there's one gonna go here on each light. Once those are installed, this top piece slides back on the top, put the nuts on, and it goes back in the truck. So when you're putting the bezels back together, where you're putting the shroud on the back piece, you can just take a loose socket, and what you want to do is keep pressure on the bolt as you set it down, and push it down back on the piece. So what's going to happen is that little edge is going to cut its own threads. So just get it finger tight. It doesn't have to be super tight. If you go too tight, they'll strip. But just like down here, lay them on there by hand, and then just nice and easy as it goes down. If you're not pushing on it, it won't actually go on like a standard bolt. So you got to put some pressure on it. But then once it's down, snug, and you're good to go. A lot of people don't realize that we actually test every single fixture before it leaves the factory. So as it comes down the line through our quality control process, the fixture gets plugged in and burned in for a certain amount of time, and then the fixture is submerged underwater for 10 to 20 minutes, and then it's pulled back out and burned in again. And so we have this specialized testing rack we spent a lot of time developing so that every fixture can be tested for submersion rating and for ingress protection before it leaves the factory. So that's kind of how we can offer that lifetime warranty, because we know before it left the factory it was 100%. So sometimes when you're doing this install on the Ford Super Duties, there's a chance that when you plug the lights in and you turn the switch, they won't fire up the first time, and it's a simple fix. All you've got to do is flip the polarity in this switch connector, and I'll show you how to do that. The first step is you take this little green piece, that's called the wedge lock. We're going to take that out of there. So you see this little detent? You just take a flat blade screwdriver and stick it in behind that detent, wiggle it down there, and what you'll see is that piece pops out. Set that to the side. So then just notate on the side of the connector there's a number 1 and a number 2. Now normally the red wire goes into pin 1 and the black wire goes into pin 2, and you're just going to flip it. So the red wire is going to go in pin 2. Now to get this thing out, you'll stick the screwdriver down behind this pin, and you want to follow along the edge of the pin. There's a little lever that catches on the edge of the pin. You're just going to stick it down and pick that lever up. So you reach down, and what I like to do is grab the back of the pin with my fingers so I can put a little bit of pressure on it, and just flip this lever back, and the pin will pop right out of place. So you see how now the pin comes out. So what you'll do is then pull this little piece off, stick it back in the connector, and just flip it over. There you go. The trick with this is you want them both to line up so that you're not pushing one in first and the next. And you just slide it in there. You'll hear them click. First one's clicked. Second one's clicked. Once they're clicked, give them a tug. If they're tight, just realign this little green wedge lock, and you're done. Plug it in and be ready to go. So it's worth noting that when you plug the light in and it doesn't come right on, you do this polarity flop. You have to do both of them before you turn the switch again. If you do it beforehand, you'll blow the fuse, and then just check that and replace it.
All right, we have the entire assembly assembled now, so we're going to put this back on the truck, call it a day. All right guys, so this is the plug and play harness here that makes this so much easier. Really no wiring required thanks to this piece right here. So you'll really just hook this to the truck. Make sure it's locked in place, and then to your new fog light. That's all there is to it. All right guys, so we have our fog lights installed now, and as you can see, they match the OE near perfectly, and that's a good sign. But the thing is, with these lights, they're going to perform 4 times better and still draw less power than your OE lights ever could. Now, with all that said, let's get to the feature attraction and show you these turned on. All right, so this is about 4,000 effective lumens in action, as you can see. Super bright, much brighter than your OE lights ever could be, and still draws much less power. Now this is a 6,000 Kelvin light temperature, so you're going to get a nice bright white, near blue aftermarket look. Looks great, looks very aftermarket. The beam pattern, this is about a 10 degree, it's nearly a pencil beam pattern, so you're not going to be blinding anyone that you're passing down the road. All right, so that is a wrap. The installation overall was pretty easy. It took us about 2 hours to do. Again, that's with everyday hand tools, and Sam and I did this together, so really not a bad installation. There's a few things with this application to be mindful of, but overall, super easy. Thanks for your help, Sam.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming out today.
For sure.
Guys at home, if you want any more details about this Vision X fog light kit, please check the description below. We'll have all that listed for you there, as well as a part number and a dealer locator, so you can find these fog lights at a dealer near you. Thanks again for tuning in. This has been Total Truck Centers in the Garage.